Hey guys, in this video I wanna share a bit of what was my experience in Dust, and some thoughts about Vanguard. Just an apology for the crappy video. In those days I had nothing better to record the game, and those were almost the last days. Anyways, back in Dust a couple of people knew me as the Matter officer, the one with rusty nails and stuff like that. And well, I am not here to hype the game. I wanna play it first and share how was my experience. Back in the day, Dust was a game that had a huge vision, and it crumbled under its own weight because what CCP tried to achieve was quite big, and we could say that there were a good number of issues throughout the whole journey, because the PS4 was around the corner. Whether we like it or not, that is something terrible for online games, because huge chunks of people moved to the next generation. The PS3 was kinda limited for the original vision, and the general consensus says that the way the first devs handled the game wasn't good. Of course, it is fair to remember that there were times of imbalance, like the tactical rifles, lasers, swarm launchers, murder taxi, unstoppable tanks, the never fits scramble rifle, just to name a few. However, as a veteran who played a lot of online games, that always happens. The biggest of issues could be said that came in some other technical things, like getting logged in, planetary conquest, and the terrible lag. Only they know why, but it was because of the servers. Those were the biggest of issues I saw and remember. But with all honesty, at the dying stage, where the GMs made a lot of hot fixes and took the time to hear and change the game, Dust felt way better. And I'll say that it was a good experience, and this comes from someone who played in the beta, 2012, up until the very last day. Also, it is fair to say that it wasn't a friendly beginning if for some reason you started, let's say, 6 months later, because it took a good amount of time to acquire things, the smallest of skills somewhere around 1 week. Getting a prototype dropsuit was somewhere around 8 weeks. So coming up with a fully equipped prototype suit took at least 4 or 5 months, unless you invested in boosters. And the newbies who had no idea about the basic mechanics had a terrible time fighting those players, because the difference in damage and HP was quite big, so unless you were methodic in your ways, it was a harsh start for many. As for Noble Legion, if they never release a beta or something like that, it means that most likely they didn't want to commit the same mistakes. And once again, when people told them that what they presented wasn't good and they took the time to polish the game to come up with this, means that they are interested in bringing a good game. I just hope that if Vanguard holds the same premise that Dust tried. With that I mean a first-person shooter with solid RPG elements. Here it is worth mentioning that Dust wasn't for everyone, because the TTK is not like the classic FPS of maybe 1-2 seconds. Maybe the closest thing I played was Planetside, but here having matches around 10, 30, 40 seconds were quite common, and the TTK of the beta was even bigger. For the males, what brought my attention of the first experiences is the feeling of confusion, most likely in objectives. I just hope it is not as convoluted as Eve, because that is the same reason why they are not able to retain a good number of new players, and the voice chat. Aside from that, until I get the chance to play the beta, I cannot say for certain if they are committing the same mistakes, or if the premise is coming better. If things flow well, I'll be there to play the first days, and of course share the experience. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.